Mom?
Uncle Wes, why can't you stay?
They need me to help them try and stop this. We're the only family we have left.
We got this.
Cody! What are you doing, man? You should kill somebody.
We are all soldiers now. Tonight, when that sun sets, it's gonna be every man for himself.
We have a 9-hour window to test and report our findings. We hope to see if this mutation can be blocked.
Let's go over the rules.
Don't open the door for anyone.
Don't hesitate for a second.
Hoorah! Hoorah! Hoorah!
Good luck tonight.
Canopy retraction commencing.
No more guns, no more guards. Those things are coming for us.
I'm here.
Bite me!
Greetings, fellow insomniacs, and welcome to another episode of the Creature Features Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. I am your host. My name is Chunky Larry, and today I get to do something really fucking cool. I get to talk to somebody whose film is debuting tomorrow. Literally tomorrow, his film is going to be hitting theaters, and I got a chance to watch this in advance so we could have this conversation. And I'm really excited to have a conversation about this film because it is a very interesting and unique take on the werewolf genre. And I have a lot of questions that I want to try to get through the course of this conversation, but I'm just amazed that this is happening. And I cannot wait to welcome you guys to a filmmaker who is responsible for a film that I wanted to talk to him about anyway, because we're in the holiday season, and I'm talking about Silent Night from 2012. But his name is Steven Williams. How you doing today?
Yo, man, how's it going?
I'm good, brother. I am absolutely pleased to have you on the show. And like I said, it is that time of year. You get this movie coming around once a year, and you get new fans who come out and say, this is a wild take on the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise. And it's like an amped up, like Silent Night, Deadly Night on steroids. And it's such a wild fucking movie. And now you've got this other really cool horror movie on steroids with werewolves. So I want to kind of backtrack into kind of the genesis of Steven Williams. Do you prefer Steven Williams or Stephen C. Williams?
Oh, Stephen C. Miller.
Miller. Oh, God damn it.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. But do you prefer Stephen C. Miller or Stephen Miller?
Stephen C. Miller's good. Like, it's all
Okay.
good. Yeah.
Okay. So when you were getting into your love for the film genre, the horror genre specifically, what were the earliest films that kind of grabbed you and said, "Oh, this is it for me"? Because you could tell that
Yeah.
you're a horror lover.
I love horror. I love everything about it. I love the community, the fans. My thing that got me really early on was Evil Dead 2. Evil
Mhm.
Dead 2 is something I can remember watching very early, sort of like in my buddy's basement or something. And like, you weren't supposed to be watching it, but I was, and it was fucking awesome. That to me was where it really started. And then it was, getting into things like Fright Night, The Howling. Those kind of movies got me. Alien was a big one for me. Those movies, and sort of even moving into Aliens where it was action. And I realized I really love the combo of horror and action. And that was sort of like early for me knowing that was really what I wanted to strive to do very early on.
And you referencing aliens right there makes total sense because werewolves is ostensibly a werewolf movie with the aliens treatment. It's a
Yeah.
big, heavy, like hardcore action film that still manages to bring the horror nuances to the genre. And there are certain things, certain visual cues that I thought were particularly interesting. And there's one specifically towards the tail end of the film when you're getting ready for that big siege moment, where all of the werewolves are kind of backlit by the moonlight and
Yeah.
they're kind of in silhouette. That reminded me of the film Demons.
I love
And
Demons.
dude, so I was like,
It's a callback. You caught it. It's a
yeah,
callback. It's a total callback to Demons. There's a couple in the movie, but that's the big one.
and so I have a couple of questions about the lore of this world, and so without giving anything away, there was a solar event
Yep.
that caused billions of residents all over the world to become werewolves. And anybody that was hit by the moonlight would turn
Yep.
into a werewolf. There's no like immunities or anything.
There's
like
at this
that.
point in the movie, they don't know if there's immunity or not. Like, right, we haven't gotten that far into the world, but where we drop you in, no one knows if there's immunity. They're trying to figure that out. Maybe they could test a gene, which is what they're basically trying to do, is like, if these guys were to turn, if they would have kept them in cages, right? If they turn, can we test them? Can we figure out how to reverse the gene? Can we find a vaccine? I mean, that's really what's happening.
And this feels allegorical to the entire COVID crisis. And
Which is wild because we got the script beforehand.
so
and
it wasn't.
It's crazy.
No, that's amazing because literally I'm watching it and you see these elements that feel very much of that era. Specifically, the militant character who is like, a doomsday prepper basically, and he's got his armor on. And he's like,
Yeah.
hoorah and all this shit.
It was wild that we kind of fused that. We were able to fuse it because we got the script beforehand, and I already thought the script was cool. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, holy shit! Like, is this really happening as I'm prepping this movie to get it going? We had to shut down and wait till after the pandemic to shoot the movie. But yeah, it was so crazy. And then to kind of go back into the script and really just sort of even fuse a little bit more and make sure the movie, now that we had learned something going through a pandemic and seeing people sort of hunker down and these kind of things, we actually sort of added things into the script so that it resonated even more with people that felt like, oh, wow, people like moving into different areas of town or like segregating people or like locking people up or like these kind of things felt like, man, people really will understand this now that they've gone through it.
And so specifically the vaccine, the way that works and it's still kind of being in its infancy. And so it not working completely, it working for an hour of time. And that kind of allows the characters to operate out into the world without the concern of the moonlight hitting them. And so I find that element really interesting, specifically because of the vaccines that we went through with the COVID virus, because there were variants that would pop up. And so there's a lot of world that's still left, kind of like it feels like there's a lot of like hanging meat on that bone that you guys weren't necessarily able to chew with the time that you were given.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you're totally right. It was like a giant world.
yeah, and so you're putting this set piece into this existing world, but there's so much world around it that you couldn't really get to. So basically, I think what I'm trying to say is, do you guys have the intent of keeping this story going? Is that kind of
Totally. We
mindset?
do. Me and Frank have talked about it. The producers have talked about it. Obviously, we need the movie to do well enough to warrant it. But I think the world is really rich. There is a way to really play with this and have a lot of fun. But there are things in the movie that I'm happy to say that will be on the Blu-ray that were cut that are even more world building, where we actually venture into an underground dwelling of these people and like how they work underground. It just didn't make the movie because the movie was so fast paced that it felt like anytime we really stopped, it felt like the whole movie stopped. So we just kept the ante up. And that's sort of my go-to. You said it earlier. Like Silent Night is Silent Night on steroids. This is Werewolves on steroids. That's sort of my go-to anyway. I love keeping the audience, out of breath almost, and just keeping them at a pace. So we really hope the next movie we can sort of open up the world a little bit and really give more world building elements to really gravitate to. But I felt like it was important to get you into this movie and really just get you loving the world, and then I could expand on it later.
Hey there, hope you're enjoying this episode of the Creature Features podcast. It is being brought to you today by boxesfrommama.com. If you go to boxesfrommama.com, you can make your own movie night with a blind box movie pick with snacks and trinkets and all kinds of cool shit. And they also have really cool disc nooks that will just either complement your movie collection or hang on your wall and just be cool fucking pieces of art. They have them hand painted, or if you just want them plain, you can get those as well. Look into all of that and let them know that Chunky Larry sent you. This episode is also being brought to you today by Sinister Brew Coffee. Sinister Brew Coffee is the one-stop shop for all of your spooky Java needs. And if you go to sinisterbrewcoffee.com and use the promo code CreaturePod10, you can save 10% on your order. They have all kinds of flavors for you to enjoy. My personal favorite right now is the spiced eggnog. I am in the holiday season. I'm in the holiday spirit. And one way that I feel festive is by drinking my spiced eggnog. And you get Krampus versus Santa Claus. And who the fuck doesn't like that? So go to sinisterbrewcoffee.com, use the promo code CreaturePod10, save 10% on your order, and drink Sinister. Now let's get back to the podcast. And so casting Frank Grillo as Wes seems kind of like a no-brainer. But what was the process of getting this script to him? And because I have to assume you as a director, you're reading this, you're visualizing it in your head. Yeah. And if I'm looking at this script, Frank Grillo seems like the natural candidate for Wes.
He was easily the natural candidate. And luckily, Frank and I had sort of run into the same circles doing some action movies, not together, but with a lot of the same people. And so we had kind of slid into each other's DMs a couple times, just saying, hey, Frank said, if you find something for me, please send it. Would love to work with you. So he was a first choice. I sent it to him. He probably got back to me within 24 hours and was like, this is The Purge with werewolves. He was super excited and he loved it. And so it was a no-brainer and we got him really quick. And to be honest, it was so great to get him on so early because he was really invested. Like he was invested with some of the rewriting. He was invested with the werewolves themselves. It was just really cool to have him on board.
And so in terms of the mythology for werewolves in this story, as opposed to other stories, what are some deviations from what people should expect from your version of werewolf?
Well, I think the deviation specifically is probably the different personalities. I don't think you've gotten that in other werewolf movies. They're all pretty much feral beasts. That's it. They're all the same. They do whatever they do. I think this movie tries to give them personality with the person that they were and infuses that into the werewolf, and then tries to give them a little bit more smarts. I mean, there's you got werewolves like washing their eyes out after they get pepper sprayed. So I mean, so there are things that these wolves are battling with internally and mentally, whether it's they've been checked out of their humanity, but they've got some of their smarts and trying to battle that internally. So we tried to fuse that with the werewolves that I just don't know that I've seen before.
And so there was also, periods where they're running straight up and then they run bipedal.
Yeah.
On quadruped.
Quadruped, yeah.
And so is that like, difference just based on the different people and like...
Yeah, it was really like to give some of them the idea that they could run like that. Some of them refuse to do it, right? They're more human-esque, I guess. They want to stand up straight. It was really just pick and choose. Like, we wanted to make sure that we had variations of things happening. I mean, we even have a variation of sort of a human, not quite completely werewolf yet in the movie.
The little girl.
Yeah, the little girl. And
that scene is heavy, dude.
Yeah, it's heavy. That's my daughter, even funny enough. Yeah, that's my daughter.
Are you serious?
She loved every moment of it. So cool to have her be able to do it. But yeah, we just tried to give variations.
So having your daughter like going through the makeup process, because I know for actors the makeup process is like sitting still for a long period of time. It's arduous, but it's your daughter who is, and I know how I have 3 kids and having to get them to sit still to do anything. it's like
it was really hard, but she was so excited and she had to be in the makeup chair for hours.
Yeah.
But once she saw the finished product, she was just so excited to be there with Frank, on set with Frank. And like, she had like, you could see it in her eyes. She was just like, I'm going to eat him. She really got into it. But yeah, it was, as a dad, it was surreal. It was really cool to see it. And it's really fun now for her. She just hit high school. She's in 9th grade. So it's really fun to see her on her little social platform, like telling all her friends, like she's Wolf Girl in the movie. So she's having a blast with it.
Yeah, that's quite the flex. And I assume that there's going to be some jealousy.
Oh, there probably. And I told her, but she's so stoked. She doesn't care.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. And, she's just getting into high school. She's already got a movie poster that she's a part of. Cool. Like, living the dream.
Yeah, she's having a blast. She's loving it. It's something that we will share as a family because we got to live in Puerto Rico to shoot the movie for a couple months. And so it's a cool core memory, I think, that they get to really kind of grab a hold of and have fun with.
And when did you guys shoot this? Was this during the summer? Were you able to get
summer, which was brutal, right? When you have guys in suits in Puerto Rico and, huge high temperatures of the hundreds, it's not fun for them. But, we had some cooling suits, so it made it better. They were troopers, the guys, performers, just absolute troopers. They love doing it.
And so I want to talk about the fusion of special effects, special makeup effects, animatronics with CG. I think that really, really benefited this film in a textural standpoint, in the sense that, there's a tangibility that exists when you have these special makeup effects creatures that are operating inside of frame and giving the actors something to kind of really react to, because a lot of acting is reacting. And so I have to assume that the transformation sequences, specifically because that's where a lot of the CG is, was there a specific moment when working on this where somebody was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel now. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you got to all of this, but like,
Yeah, it's difficult when you're trying. I mean, look, Frank Grillo has worked on Marvel movies, so he knows what it is like to be up on a green screen for hours. So he was one of the guys that was just really appreciative to have a creature in front of him at all times that he could fight, that he could battle, that he could, push over if he wanted to. Like he had so much fun with them on screen. And then when it came time for some of the transformation sequences, like, and we knew from the very beginning that we were heavy practical with the wolf when they were on screen, but the transformation sequences, we knew we just weren't going to have time to do the old school practical. But I think it fit with the movie's kineticism of the movie that the transformations be kinetic and be kind of wild. And so that to me fit with the CGI narrative. And we went to the CGI VFX guys very early on and had them in the shop with us making the werewolves. So they were making the CGI based on the skins of the wolf, early designs of the wolf. So it wasn't like when I went to them, I was like, look, I need these to feel almost as clunky as my real guys. I'm not trying to make them cleaner or smoother. I need it to feel very similar. And so they understood the assignment. They really did. Even with the actors, they got it. They loved it. And I feel like we were able to pull that sort of blend off.
Yeah, I think you guys did a tremendous job, and I'm personally really excited to see how this film is received, because
Yeah, me too.
it in the world of these, Nosferatus and that kind of horror film, I think it's a refreshing change to have this kind of horror film where you're literally there to have a good time. Like this is a
Yeah.
party horror. This is
I love that.
the action set pieces that make it where it's like gratifying, and you have those moments where something cool happens and it's like, yeah, and that is missing from the theatrical experience for me in recent films. Is that something that's important for you as a director, is to have a different kind
Yeah,
of vibe?
that's my jam, right? I understood my forte and what I'm good at is in kinetic, fun popcorn movies. I love the movies like Nosferatu, think pieces of horror. I love making it. I want to have so much fun on set. I want to be blowing it up. I want to be having people on set even excited before they even get to see the movie. And that's just how I roll. So I knew very early on, these are the kind of movies I was going to make
Mm.
to that. And when you lean into it, I feel like the movie comes out better. Not worried about how people are going to respond to it. You just know you're making it for people. So I make that on purpose, things on purpose.
And so, without getting too inside baseball on this, what is the reaction that you guys feel you need to get the next chapter of this story? Because I feel like this story there's a lot to be explored.
I got to be honest. I feel like we're close. I online, the push we're getting. Look, we're getting in theaters across the country, was a big deal. We're up against some gigantic hitters right now, of course, like holdovers from Moana and Wicked and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you just got to rely on horror fans to go out there and make it work. And I feel like we're close. I think we have got the love we need. We just need them to get out there and spread the word, and that's the most important thing.
And so, where can they find you guys and push you further in the world of social media?
So you can find me at Stephen C. Miller on all social platforms. I'm there. You can find Werewolves Movie at Werewolves Movie on, I believe, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you're calling it, TikTok. And then, really, if you want to know where you can find the movie in your area, it's www.werewolvesmovie.com. That is where you're going to be able to click Get Ticks. It'll show you exactly where a movie theater is located close to you, and you can go see it.
And I want to do kind of a last minute push for anybody that's particularly on the fence with werewolves. This is a fun fucking action film. This is a fun horror film. There are horror beats in this that are absolutely excellent. And you see one specific one in the trailer where the girl backs up and the werewolf is in the doorway. That kind of shit is throughout this film. This is a good time at the theater, and this is one of those films that I think needs to be seen in a theater and needs that loud sound score. And with any kind of independent horror films, the only way that they're going to make more horror films is if you go out and you support these horror films.
Yep.
That is the way that we keep getting the things that we love, is by going out and saying with your dollar, I want more of this. And for anybody that's here just because of Steven and you've enjoyed the conversation, first of all, thank you. You want to find out more about me, you could do that in a couple of different ways. You can start by liking us on Facebook, facebook.com/creaturepod, by following us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, all of the things, all at CreaturePod. It's a really easy system. You just go to wherever you go in the world of social media. I might have one on Truth Social. I don't know. I'm not in charge of these things. Letterboxd, if you want to see my reviews of films, it's all CreaturePod. It's
yes,
really
leave a
easy.
review on Letterboxd.
Absolutely. Give this all of the stars. Throw stars at it like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street. You know what I mean? Like, give this the love. Support independent horror. And I want to thank you, Steven, for being as giving with your time as you've been. I'm really excited for people to see this film. I think that it's a lot of fun. And I need you to do some more holiday horror. So
I love that idea. I want to. And I think it's something that's on my radar. I have a couple things so I'm looking at. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you having me on here. I'm thankful for everybody out there who's going to go check out the movie. And you can find me and hit me up and tell me how much you love it.
And that's going to do it for us, you guys. So for Stephen Miller, or Stephen C. Miller, not Williams, and for myself, again, my name is Chunky. This has been another episode of the Creature Features Podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube, listen with someone you trust.